It's great to be back, guys. 7 days feels like a long time. A lot can happen. Not much has happened, except for the audio kerfuffle that we so enjoyed on the show. But today's episode, normal looking over some of the week's joys. Nothing from me, but what I've got is a new feature, if you can call it that. It's basically I'm going to look at a professionally painted model, and I'm going to give you the lowdown on how I think it's done. And then in future episode, we're going to go over with that artist and see how they actually did it. So enjoy.
Up show.
Yep, back, baby. I don't know why this week feels longer. Like it felt like more time passed between first episode and this episode. And honestly, not much changed. However, one exciting thing that actually quite a bit's changed. I'm doing one job now, but this is what I wanted to show you, right? This might look innocuous and boring, and it is indeed just a timer. I was going to say a stopwatch, but you don't wear it, so it's not a watch. So it's definitely a timer. But two. So what I've started doing is breaking up because I'm awful at painting and sitting down and actually painting. Now I don't know if anybody else suffers from this particular ailment, but and talking to people, actually they don't at all. They just sit down, paint, and then stop. And I was asking Albert and Arnau, and I was like, how long do you actually, like, what's the maximum you can sit down and paint for? And they were like 5 or 6 hours. I was like, whoa. I tend to last an hour and then I kind of fatigue. And I think it's because I've got loads of other things that I've sort of planned to do, but I'm really bad at organising the time. So this is the timer one. Sorry, obviously it's the timer. This is the work one. So this is basically what I do is I set however long I think I'm going to be working. Sorry, that was louder than I anticipated. And then I just hit start. And then the alarm goes off and it's done. But what it means is I can separate my time. And this one, which isn't fully on yet at all, is going to be my painting one. So it means I'm like, right, cool, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. And I basically can just focus. Sounds weird when I say it out loud. There were £5 from Amazon, so I kind of thought, what have I got to lose other than 10 quid? And even if I didn't use them for what they're worth, I'm losing £10, but I'm gaining 2 friends in timers. So, yeah. I haven't used it yet for painting. I've used it for work and it was cracking today. I was a little bit like, I should go and paint. Set that on, whacked it on, did all my work. Then I had to go and pick up Poppy. So I didn't get to paint. And then I wanted to do this. And I had an interview. So it's all kicking off. I feel like I should give an update, right? I feel like this is okay to just brief you with completely unrelated in any capacity hobby. Well, it's hobby related, but it's very specific to me. And actually, in hindsight to that comment, it is the Hutber show. I did it in quotes because the Hutber show is the name of the show, not because I wanted to say it was like ironic, as the 2000s when people did that a lot. So yeah, that has been the week. And I'm really odd for everyone else. I'm painting a Wraith Lord from like 1997, back in the styles from then, and it's I've been through this before, but it's so hard to recreate like that style for some reason. But yes, indeed, the show. So obviously this is the part where we look at other things, and that is models painted by other people. And it's a namestay of this show now, where I look at something and I go, yeah, that looks all right. And then we move on to the next part. This is by Rusto Art, as you can see in the text, and Chimera Models. And I'm not sure it's actually definitely out right now, mostly because I haven't seen it in the grey. I've only seen this. And I thought it was actually quite a hard model to paint. But Rusto, I'm assuming it's Rusto, not Rusto. Because Rusto is kind of like rust in Spanish. I'll let that sink in. So yeah, this is it. And I think, obviously, it's a great job. Mostly because the amount of colours that are actually at play but it's still quite balanced and has quite a bit of harmony going on there. Like, having tried to paint a model with a lot of different colors, aka my dragon, which didn't go well for me. I mean, it's still there, but it has no balance, man. It's just like a mishmash of colors. So here he's using like, I guess 4 different colors, and quite strong colors, different tonalities of those colors, but still it all works and is kind of pulled together in a really nice way. So it had to be included, frankly. You've got, I believe it's freehand, which is the scales on the fish, and obviously I think, but I'm not sure, the face. I mean, they look like they're sculpted, but it's worth bringing up. And what is that? It's N and M on the handle thing down on the bottom left of the picture. Yeah, honestly, like I didn't include this to talk much about it. I just included it because I looked at it and I was like, that's cool. That is cool. And it is cool. But then when you get the photo in front of you, you feel like you've got to say something. I don't think there's much more to say other than it just works and I like it. Yeah, which is, sorry. Oh, caca. I mean, people don't come here for the pronunciations, obviously. But, I pride myself on at least trying. I don't pride myself. I'm just like, yeah, cool. Right, Karaikal. Karaikal. No, it's not an L there, is it? Karaikal is my guess. Karaikal? Painting studio. And obviously the model by Black Crow Miniatures. He said some there. Yeah, and another fantastic rendition of the wizard. And it just keeps on giving. I think there's a lot here that I like in this model. Like a really lot. I think the first thing I kind of is the resolving of the cloth, the material, because there is so much material, kind of flat planed material as it were on the sculpt. Like, for me personally, I find it very hard to create interest and noise, and this is an interesting idea that he's done, or she, I'm not sure. You basically you do your kind of highlighting as you would in a kind of Games Workshop fashion, and by that I mean like no texture, but then the most prominent areas you add the texture, and it kind of creates this nice, I guess, combination between smooth and not smooth, really smooth. But the pipe particularly, I mean, the thing is, I could keep going. There's so many cool things on this paint job that you can obviously see for yourself, but the pipe I thought was particularly good, and obviously the freehand on the book is also exceptional, and the pots, yeah, and the owl and the beard and the face, and the orb and the skin, and the leather. So yeah, and by the looks of it, the freehand on the books as well. So yeah, it's a really well painted, but again, it's just, spoiler, it's just a really nice version of a model that's already been done quite a lot, which I think is hard to do. In itself adds something different, which is nice. I also wonder where that bird does his shits. Like, if it's on his back, you assume that the bird is a magic bird. It's going to be trained enough to fly off and do a shit somewhere else, aren't you? Really. Otherwise, that wizard's got problems. Of the Avrian type. Yes. Yes, Mr. Anthony, Mr. Wang, and this is from Night Models. Now, I wasn't quite sure. I'm assuming that's like old school Night Models. I don't know. Are they even existing anymore? But this is Gambit, basically, from Marvel, and this is, I think, a granette, basically, where you paint black and white first. And I was pretty shocked at the level of detail on this, and the N&M is very, very nice. I'm assuming it's 75mm scale, mostly because I think the Night Models Marvels were. But yeah, the NMM is great, and then you add color, and it's even better. So yeah, good, very good job, and enjoyable, and I'm looking forward to seeing this finished, because obviously you can see this is a whip, but we don't care here. We just do what we feel's best. Yeah. it works really well. I think the stylized cartoon style comic book of the color on not the N&M but on the cloak is also superbly done. So thank you very much. I think that is it for the real ones. This is by Dragonhead Models. Now, I actually wasn't sure if I should put this in, but I have put it in. And this is the latest release from myself. So if ever you are interested, and this is the concept, the original concept from the art, from the piece that's done. It's still quite a long way away. And this is Anna's. Just stick to their first names. Meshanova. Meshanova is the concept artist, and she's done another 2 pieces for me that are still on top of this one that are nowhere near being seen. But man alive, I love her style. I really do. And she's the kind of reason why I wanted to go down this road. And I think maybe even a year now we've been working. Feels a bit too long, but quite a long time. And this was kind of why with Bold Miniatures, when they released their stuff, I was super jealous because of, well, the style that I was going for is exactly what they've done, and they beat me to it. And there's the fantastic part I'm not jealous about. I'm just jealous that they got to release them before I did. But this is the first in that kind of series. And here is the finished piece. Obviously not printed all the likes, but yeah, this is basically the sculpt that Eleanor Karimova did. And yeah, I think it's brilliant from what she did. Like, we went through a fair few, not iterations, but I kept asking her to change things which weren't actually in the original concept, or subtle changes. So I apologize for that, but I think the end result was great. I'm very much looking forward to seeing paint on it. I should have changed the title and said things that I did, because I think that really brings things to life, and mostly because I can't paint this that well, I don't think. Or I will try. So now the new segment. So basically what I want to do, a little rundown. Oh, also it's worth saying that I didn't want to go to, I edited the images and then I thought, actually, this is a bad idea with my own model. But then I did it. But I didn't add all the different views because I don't want to plug it. Just to say I feel bad, but at the same time I did it, so I obviously can't feel that bad. Yes, so I don't know what to call this, but it's basically I'm going to look at someone's model, then try and get them in. Critique it first. Critique? No, that's not the right word, because I don't want to pass judgment on if I like it or not, even though on this particular case, I really do like it. And normally I'll probably pick models I like, so it's like, do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah, so, oh, shit. Basically what happens is when you switch between scenes, galleries reset back to the original first image. So that's what that was. So this is now, obviously, and I say obviously because I imagine most people have actually seen this already, but maybe not, maybe not. And how do I think they did it? That's basically what it is. And this is actually, I guess, mostly for me to try and learn, because I think a big part of painting models and improving is identifying. I was going to say where you've done things wrong, but I guess if you can look at something and understand it, then you can more easily apply it to yourself. And the sculptor here was Samina, I guess, Crawler, and it was for Neko Galaxy Miniatures, as you can see written down. Don't ask me how, when, or how much, or blah blah blah. You know, we're not a news desk. So now I also have the difficulty of breaking this down. It's also interesting to try and break down something when you don't understand. And I think that by me trying and getting it wrong, then it now comes on and goes, you're in it. No, you weren't. He's too nice for that. But, you know, actually telling me what to do. So, oh, yeah. I think it's a compliment how fucking good it is that I don't even know where to start. I haven't planned this. I don't know why. That surprises anyone. So I think, I guess let's start with the skin. And can I zoom in? I absolutely can zoom in, obviously. Right. So for me, if I was painting the broader body skin, I would I would, and I'm pretty sure he hasn't done this way necessarily, is I would do an airbrush to try and find the volumes. But I think Arnau's understanding of volumes is so good that he would have used airbrush to lay down the base tones, and all appearances on top of a black undercoat. And then most of this is going to be glazing. And when I say glazing, I don't mean in the traditional sense. I should probably explain what I mean. Like, if you take, for example, the breasticles, and you see the basically the white area on the middle, right? And then it goes up to pink. I can only imagine that this was done with glazes, or stippling, or a combination of both. So the broad tones and the largest parts done with stippling, and then glazing to blend them through. Now I know there's techniques where you basically do your sketch, which is probably actually thinking about it, where most of the broad colors are going to come from sketching, which is a way to just basically apply the colors and the volumes of where you want them, but without any real blends. So you lay that down. I almost want to rewind now. I practiced, but we can't. You live by your mistakes. Oh shit. Okay, so we're going to say sketching, which goes without saying. I should say that for everything, I guess. Sketching, and then yeah, it has to be. Fuck you, Arnau. The smoothness. So that, I guess the smoothness can only be, so this kind of transitional thing on the like the cups, right? On the underside of the cups. Where they're dark and then they're fading up to light. This can only in my head be done by, yeah, a nice, simple, easy sketch, which is like solid colors almost. When I say solid colors, I mean like transitional, no tertiary colors, no midtones blending them. And then he's going over with either normally stippling or glazing. Stippling will be a lot faster, but you'll be able to see more where it's done. So thank you, Skin. Yeah, the knickers, as they're called. I don't know if they're knickers in this capacity, really. But this is just going to be like cross-hatching almost, or just, with the different tones. You can clearly see there's no blending there. The blending or the appearance in your mind is coming just from the different tonalities. By the way, I'm talking as if I'm not an authority on this, as anybody who's watching will have seen. However, I have been painting for like 4 years now. So the more I can talk, the more I can learn. So the hair. Now the hair is amazing normally. And it's such a hard thing to get right, to get the volumes right, to get this whole, like you see at the bottom of the hair, you've got those almost plain whites without breaking. And that's what I get wrong with hair, is I always try and do individual hairs, and that's absolutely what you can't do to get it working. You have to do an anime style with a small amount of layering on. Anime style being just like a one whole plane and then some shit there. So how would you paint this technique wise? Probably all the base colors again, massive sketching, and then just go over and add your details. So like on the fringe, you've got this white bit here, and then at the front, these are just going to be brushstrokes with different tones, and building it up over time is how I imagine. The skin on the face, see, that's where I would say, right, you would want to use like these red bits. You'd want to use almost an airbrush to lay that color down, because to get that level of smoothness without, by glazing, which I don't think Arnau does much on, because you're saving time. Like, glaze is a very, very slow process. So I like to imagine that's airbrush with some stippling or very light glazes to take things off. Literally got his model behind me. I should go and check how he does stuff. The mask, I think that's quite clear. I'm so sure he doesn't wet blend, but it would be really easy for, like, on the nose, you have this dark bit here, and then just on this bit of the nose, you have the lighter red bit. if you're not doing wet blending, you're literally just doing blending, which is basically glazing, because it seems too smooth to be a stipple. The cloak, you've got N and M going on here, right? Which obviously isn't a technique, but it's super, super nice. So I would like to know myself how to create this texturing, and it has to be to do with colors and volumes, basically, to create all of that. To create where you've got this, and then you've got that ruffle here, right? And it seems almost metallic. I'm on 20 minutes. Yeah. But then you've got on the upper side, so you've got the dark here, then you've got that, that tertiary, that kind of bridge tone. And this below is just tones in my head. It's a shame you can't see my mouse because it would be so much easier for me to point. But where you have the light at the bottom and then slightly darker, that is quite solid. So it's quite easy to do. And then on the top side, you have that blend. And again, I just have to assume it's sketch, i.e. 2 or 3 colors, and then just merging them to, in between with those nice bridge tones. I suppose the sword or the blade is going to be similar to the hands. So really, actually, breaking it down from my perspective, everything is well placed for volumes, which mean even if he wasn't filling in those bridge tones, you could look at the model from a distance and it would almost look finished, and you would instantly understand all the volumes and placements of things. So then he must go in and essentially believe, stipple or glaze in betweens. But a lot of his work is also with just this tic-tac brush stroke, like here on the underwear, where you have, on the middle of the underwear, where you can see the brush strokes, but it's creating. Well, it's not just noise though, is it? It's bridging. On the hair is probably a really good example of that, and I think he's doing that on a model quite a lot that we can't see from this photo. You can actually see it there a little bit on the arm now. Or run out of space on this bits here. On those bridge tones, you can see where he's doing the strokes, which means his understanding of volumes is good enough that he will tell us what our brain is interpreting without having to do the lengthy work. Let's get rid of this to get, of perfectly blending. You can just tell us what to interpret, and I think that must be the key of why Arnau is so damn fast and so damn good. So that concludes the experimental how do I think they did it. I'm not sure how much legroom this has, but in a way it's quite nice to try and learn. So yeah, I'll ask and try and get him on. So the next section. So thus concludes today's episode. Thank you everyone for watching this far in. I would still love to see people's work. Info at what we called minimatters.uk. I'll put it in the description. Genuinely, I would love to see people's work. I don't know if maybe just direct me with a link to your Instagram or something. But the comments always appreciated, and the likes. Yeah. So cat there. It's a different episode today, but I'm trying new things, and I've got some new things lined up there, so I'm very excited to do and to see. So see you next week, I think, if not sooner. The thing is, you might see me sooner, but I recorded it in the past. So when I say see you next week, for me, it's because I'm not going to record anything else in this week, but I might.